Comfort feels earned. It feels like progress. After years of effort, you finally reach a place where life runs smoothly. Your routines are stable. Your environment is controlled. Your stress is manageable. On the surface, it looks like success. But what if the very thing you are protecting is quietly weakening you? Most people never question comfort. They assume that reducing difficulty is the goal. Fewer problems, fewer challenges, fewer disruptions. Yet the Stoics understood something uncomfortable. The absence of friction does not create strength. It erodes it. Notice how quickly tolerance shrinks when life becomes easy. Minor inconveniences feel larger than they are. Delays feel insulting. Criticism feels threatening. Boredom feels intolerable. The mind, once capable of enduring difficulty, becomes reactive to discomfort. Comfort does not attack you directly. It softens you gradually. It lowers your threshold for stress. It conditions you to expect ease. And when ease becomes the expectation, adversity feels like injustice. We are surrounded by systems designed to eliminate discomfort. Food arrives instantly. Entertainment fills silence. Opinions are validated by algorithms. Distraction is available at all times. Every inconvenience has a solution. Every pause can be filled. At first, this seems like advancement, but mental strength is not built in environments where nothing tests it. Muscles weaken without resistance. The same is true of the mind. The Stoics deliberately practiced voluntary hardship not because they despised comfort, but because they understood its seduction. They recognized that comfort, unchecked, breeds fragility. The harsh truth is this: the more dependent you become on ease, the more vulnerable you become to disruption. Comfort feels like safety. Discipline feels uncomfortable. Yet only one builds resilience. If you want a mind that cannot be broken, you must first question the comfort you are unwilling to lose. Look closely at the structure of modern life. Nearly every system around you is designed to reduce friction. Food can be ordered without standing up. Entertainment is available without pause. Messages are answered instantly. Even boredom has been engineered out of existence. At first glance, this appears to be progress. Efficiency increases. Time is saved. Effort is minimized. Yet the mind adapts quickly to its environment. When resistance disappears, tolerance shrinks. Instant gratification reshapes expectation. If a desire arises, it can be satisfied within minutes. A craving for distraction is met with a screen. A craving for validation is met with notifications. A craving for comfort is met with convenience. Over time, patience becomes unfamiliar. Streaming platforms remove waiting. Episodes play automatically. Silence feels uncomfortable. The mind, conditioned to constant stimulation, begins to resist stillness. When stimulation pauses, anxiety often fills the space. Food delivery eliminates effort. There is no walk to the store, no preparation, no delay. Desire moves directly to fulfillment. The brain associates wanting with immediate reward. Algorithms amplify emotional reactions. Content that provokes anger, outrage, or excitement spreads faster. The more you react, the more you are shown material that triggers reaction. Gradually, reactivity becomes normalized. Calm reflection feels passive in comparison. Dopamine loops reinforce this conditioning. Every notification, every scroll, every quick reward strengthens the neural pathway of immediacy. The brain begins to expect rapid stimulation. When real life requires sustained focus or delayed reward, frustration rises. This environment does not intend to weaken you. It simply optimizes for engagement and convenience. But the consequence is subtle fragility. When discomfort appears, whether in the form of criticism, boredom, delay, or uncertainty, the mind struggles to tolerate it. Notice how quickly irritation arises when Wi-Fi slows. How impatient you become in traffic. How uncomfortable silence feels during conversation. These are small signals, but they reveal conditioning. A life designed for ease gradually lowers the threshold for resilience. It teaches the mind that discomfort is abnormal. And when discomfort feels abnormal, it feels threatening. The Stoics lived in environments filled with hardship. They did not romanticize suffering, but they did not flee from it either. They understood that strength is developed in resistance. Modern convenience is not the enemy. Dependency on it is. If the mind becomes accustomed to effortless satisfaction, it will resist anything that demands endurance. And endurance is precisely what resilience requires. The Stoics did not reject comfort because they believed suffering was noble. They rejected dependence on comfort because they understood how easily it weakens the mind. Seneca, writing to his friend Lucilius, advised practicing poverty voluntarily. He suggested setting aside days to eat simple food, wear rough clothing, and live without luxury. Then he asked a piercing question: "Is this what I feared?" The purpose was not self-punishment, it was exposure. By experiencing discomfort deliberately, fear of it diminished. Epictetus, born into slavery, did not romanticize hardship, he endured it. His teachings reflected that experience. He reminded his students that you cannot control what happens to you, but you can control how you respond. Hardship, in his view, was not an exception to life, it was part of it. To resist hardship emotionally was to resist reality itself. Marcus Aurelius, Emperor of Rome, governed during plague and war. He wrote to himself in moments of fatigue, reminding his mind that difficulty was natural. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. He trained himself to see obstacles as material for strength rather than interruption of comfort. Notice the pattern. None of them advised hiding from discomfort. None encouraged the pursuit of constant ease. Instead, they practiced endurance deliberately. Why? Because they understood a psychological principle long before neuroscience articulated it. What you avoid grows in perceived power. What you face calmly loses its intimidation. Comfort, when unexamined, creates dependency. Dependency creates fear of loss. Fear of loss creates fragility. The Stoics sought freedom from that cycle. Voluntary discomfort served as training. It reminded them that identity does not collapse when conditions worsen. It demonstrated that the body can endure more than the mind imagines. It weakened the illusion that stability depends on external ease. This was not extreme asceticism. It was calibration. By lowering their tolerance for luxury, they raised their tolerance for adversity. In modern terms, they were building stress tolerance. They were reducing the shock of difficulty by rehearsing it in controlled conditions. The harsh truth they recognized is this: if your sense of stability depends entirely on favorable conditions, then your stability is conditional. And conditional strength cannot withstand inevitable change. The Stoics trained discomfort not to suffer more, but to suffer less when suffering inevitably arrived. The Stoics understood the danger of comfort through observation. Modern neuroscience helps explain why their intuition was correct. Comfort is not merely a preference, it becomes a neurological pattern. At the center of this pattern is dopamine, a neurotransmitter. Dopamine is not simply about pleasure. It is about anticipation and motivation. When you expect a reward, dopamine rises. When the reward arrives, the brain registers reinforcement. The pathway that led to the reward strengthens. In a modern environment filled with constant stimulation, dopamine spikes frequently. Notifications, scrolling, streaming, all provide small, rapid rewards. Over time, the brain becomes conditioned to seek ease with minimal delay. When gratification becomes immediate, waiting feels uncomfortable. When stimulation becomes constant, silence feels restless. When comfort becomes normal, effort feels excessive. Reward circuits adapt quickly. The more often you receive effortless stimulation, the more your baseline shifts. This is why minor inconveniences begin to feel disproportionately frustrating. The nervous system has grown accustomed to low friction. Avoidance behavior strengthens. If discomfort produces stress and ease produces relief, the brain learns to avoid discomfort reflexively. Difficult conversations are postponed. Challenging tasks are delayed. Minor pain is immediately numbed by distraction. The mind becomes less willing to endure boredom or uncertainty. Even small stressors can feel overwhelming because the nervous system is undertrained. This is not a moral failure. It is conditioning. If the environment consistently removes resistance, The brain is optimized for ease rather than resilience. Neuroplasticity, however, works both ways. Just as comfort strengthens avoidance pathways, intentional discomfort strengthens endurance pathways. When you resist the urge to check your phone, when you sit with boredom, the brain adapts again. Stress responses become less reactive when experienced voluntarily. Controlled exposure builds tolerance. The mind learns that discomfort is survivable. Dopamine pathways recalibrate. Patience increases. This is where Stoicism and neuroscience converge. The Stoics practiced voluntary hardship not to glorify suffering, but to retrain perception. They reduced dependence on ease. Comfort addiction is subtle. It appears as convenience or harmless relief. But when the brain avoids resistance, fragility grows. Understanding this mechanism is empowering. What you repeatedly tolerate becomes easier. What you repeatedly avoid becomes harder. Comfort rewires the brain toward fragility. Discipline rewires it toward strength. Unexamined comfort becomes dependency, and dependency limits freedom. To build a mind that cannot be broken, you must intentionally reshape the patterns that comfort has quietly formed. Place two individuals in the same world. Both encounter stress. The fragile mind reacts with agitation. Thoughts spiral toward worst-case scenarios. The disciplined mind feels pressure, but interprets it differently. Stress is recognized as responsibility. Breathing slows. Focus narrows deliberately. Now introduce criticism. The fragile mind hears attack. It defends immediately. Even valid feedback feels threatening. The disciplined mind pauses. It separates tone from content. Criticism becomes refinement. Identity remains steady. Consider boredom. The fragile mind cannot tolerate it. Silence feels restless. Distraction becomes automatic. The disciplined mind sees boredom as training. It resists the impulse to escape. It strengthens focus through stillness. The capacity for deep work expands. Over time, one develops dependence on stimulation. The other develops concentration. Introduce delay, a postponed opportunity, a slow result. The fragile mind interprets delay as unfairness. Frustration rises. Impatience accelerates decisions. Shortcuts become tempting. The disciplined mind accepts delay as inherent to growth. Patience becomes strategic rather than passive. Progress continues without panic. One path leads to impulsive mistakes. The other builds endurance. Finally, rejection. The fragile mind internalizes it. Self-doubt grows louder. Motivation contracts. Future risks feel heavier. The disciplined mind separates rejection from worth. It reframes outcomes as information. Identity remains intact. Effort persists. Over time, one avoids risk to protect ego. The other pursues growth with composure. The divergence between fragile and disciplined minds is rarely dramatic in a single moment. It is cumulative. Each reaction compounds. Each interpretation strengthens a pattern. A fragile mind depends on favorable conditions. A disciplined mind depends on internal governance. Under comfort, both may appear equal. Under pressure, the difference becomes unmistakable. And over years, that difference defines destiny. Comfort rarely announces its consequences immediately. It feels harmless. It feels deserved. Yet when ease becomes the default choice, subtle costs begin to accumulate. Ambition is often the first to soften. When effort becomes optional and resistance can be avoided, long-term goals lose urgency. The mind drifts toward what feels comfortable rather than what builds capacity. Over time, potential narrows quietly. Patience erodes in the same way. When results are expected instantly, delays feel intolerable. Progress that requires sustained effort becomes frustrating. The fragile mind seeks shortcuts not because it lacks intelligence, but because it lacks tolerance for waiting. Emotional control weakens under constant ease. Small inconveniences feel disproportionate because the nervous system is unaccustomed to discomfort. A minor setback triggers irritation. A simple disagreement escalates unnecessarily. The threshold for stress lowers. Resilience suffers most profoundly. When difficulty is avoided habitually, the mind does not develop endurance. Confidence collapses under pressure that could have been manageable. Leadership presence diminishes as well. Those who cannot remain steady under discomfort struggle to inspire stability in others. Emotional volatility communicates insecurity. Consistency communicates strength. When ease governs behavior, steadiness becomes unreliable. The hidden cost of choosing comfort repeatedly is dependence. Dependence on favorable conditions. Dependence on convenience. This erosion is gradual. It does not feel dramatic. It appears as minor hesitation, reduced initiative, shortened patience. The Stoics warned against this not because hardship is virtuous in itself, but because unchallenged comfort leaves the mind undertrained. If comfort weakens resilience, then deliberate discomfort strengthens it. The Stoics introduced manageable forms of it into their lives. Voluntary hardship is not extreme asceticism, it is controlled exposure. It teaches the mind that discomfort is survivable. One powerful method is physical discomfort training. Cold exposure is a modern example. When you step into cold water, the body resists. Instead of fleeing, you remain steady. You regulate your breathing. You observe the sensation without reacting impulsively. Delayed gratification is another essential discipline. Choose to wait. Finish the difficult task before checking your phone. Each time you delay gratification, you weaken dopamine's control over decision-making and strengthen long-term focus. Silence discipline builds composure. When criticized or provoked, resist the urge to respond immediately. Allow space. Fasting or intentional moderation recalibrates desire. Eat slightly less than comfort suggests. The mind learns that craving does not command behavior. Hard conversation training develops courage. Address misunderstandings directly. The discomfort of confrontation builds emotional endurance. By choosing manageable discomfort, you reduce fear of uncontrollable discomfort. Resilience is cumulative. Preparation transforms fragility into strength. The power of voluntary hardship is neurological. The brain is adaptable. This is neuroplasticity. What you practice becomes easier. Every time you choose comfort reflexively, you reinforce a habit loop. Reaction feels natural because it has been rehearsed. Discomfort training interrupts that loop. The cue still appears, but the response changes. Instead of escaping boredom, you remain present. Instead of reacting to criticism, you pause. Instead of soothing anxiety immediately, you tolerate it briefly. The relief may not come instantly, but something more powerful begins to develop. Capacity. Habit loops consist of 3 elements: cue, routine, reward. To rewire resilience, you alter the routine. The cue, stress, delay, uncertainty, cannot always be prevented, but the response can be adjusted deliberately. When you replace impulsive relief with measured endurance, the brain begins to associate discomfort with growth rather than threat. Neural pathways strengthen with repetition. The first time you resist an impulse, it feels unnatural. The second time, slightly less so. Over weeks and months, what once required effort becomes instinctive. The disciplined response replaces the reactive one as default. This gradual rewiring explains why resilience cannot be built through occasional bursts of motivation. It requires consistent practice. Small acts of restraint accumulate. Each deliberate pause slightly recalibrates the nervous system. Identity rewiring follows behavior. When you repeatedly choose endurance, you begin to see yourself as someone capable of enduring. Self-perception shifts. Instead of thinking, "I can't handle stress," you begin to think, "I handle discomfort calmly." This shift in narrative reinforces the behavior further. The mind adapts to what it repeatedly experiences. If it experiences constant escape, fragility deepens. If it experiences controlled stress, strength grows. There is also a reduction in fear. Much anxiety stems from anticipated discomfort. When you voluntarily expose yourself to manageable stress, you teach the brain that discomfort is survivable. Anticipatory fear diminishes. Confidence increases not because challenges disappear, but because your tolerance expands. Neuroplasticity offers hope. Your current patterns are not permanent traits. They are reinforced pathways, and reinforced pathways can be reshaped. This is why Stoic practice emphasized repetition, daily reflection, voluntary hardship, measured speech. These were not philosophical decorations. They were tools for rewiring the mind. Over time, the distinction between effort and instinct fades. Endurance becomes natural. Composure becomes reflexive. What once threatened stability now strengthens it. And as this rewiring stabilizes, identity shifts from someone who seeks comfort to someone who builds capacity. That shift prepares the ground for the final transformation, not merely enduring discomfort, but embodying disciplined strength. Habits shape behavior, but identity shapes habits. At some point, the pursuit of resilience must move into who you believe yourself to be. A comfort seeker makes decisions based on immediate ease. A strength builder makes decisions based on long-term alignment. The difference is subtle but decisive. One asks, "What feels better right now?" The other asks, "What builds me?" The Stoics grounded this shift in virtue. Courage is not dramatic defiance. It is the willingness to remain steady when discomfort appears. It is choosing growth over avoidance, even when the path is inconvenient. Temperance governs excess. It restrains impulse not through fear but through discipline. It refuses to let craving dictate direction. In a world of constant stimulation, temperance becomes an act of quiet rebellion. Endurance strengthens identity further. It teaches you that difficulty does not diminish worth, that discomfort does not signal danger, that resistance can be absorbed without collapse. Endurance converts pressure into capacity. Governance replaces indulgence. Instead of allowing mood or impulse to guide action, you evaluate choices through principle. You become less reactive to external fluctuation and more anchored in internal standard. This shift is not about rejecting comfort entirely. Rest has its place. Recovery has value. The danger lies in orientation. If comfort becomes the default goal, discipline erodes. If strength becomes the guiding aim, comfort becomes a tool rather than a dependency. Identity solidifies through repetition. Each time you choose effort over ease, you reinforce a narrative. I am someone who trains. I am someone who endures. I am someone who governs my impulses. Over time, this narrative becomes stable. You stop negotiating with discomfort. You expect challenge. You welcome it as training rather than threat. Externally, life remains unpredictable. Internally, orientation changes. Instead of fearing adversity, you see it as material for growth. This is the Stoic transformation. Not hardness for its own sake, but cultivated strength. Not suppression of desire, but mastery over it. When identity aligns with discipline, resilience stops being an effort. It becomes expression. And a mind shaped by strength rather than comfort becomes increasingly difficult to break. The results of disciplined discomfort rarely appear dramatic in a single moment. They accumulate quietly. Each time you choose endurance over indulgence, you strengthen a foundation that others may not see immediately, but will eventually feel. Leadership presence emerges first. Those who remain steady under pressure command trust. In meetings, in conflict, in uncertainty, composure signals competence. Authority does not need to be asserted loudly. It is inferred from stability. Emotional stability deepens as well. When discomfort no longer feels threatening, mood fluctuations decrease. Criticism no longer destabilizes identity. Delays no longer provoke disproportionate frustration. You begin to move through stress without being consumed by it. Mental dominance follows. Not dominance over others, but over impulse. Decisions become deliberate rather than reactive. Long-term objectives guide behavior instead of short-term cravings. Patience expands. Focus sharpens. Contrast this with the fragile life shaped by ease. Mood depends on circumstance. Productivity depends on motivation. Relationships strain under emotional volatility. Confidence collapses when comfort disappears. Leadership becomes difficult when composure cannot be sustained. Over years, the divergence becomes undeniable. The comfort-dependent mind seeks protection from discomfort and remains vulnerable to it. The strength builder mind embraces measured resistance and grows resilient through it. Calm authority is the ultimate outcome. It is the quiet confidence that comes from repeated endurance. It does not rely on praise or favorable conditions. It rests on internal discipline. This is the compound effect of discomfort. It does not merely make you tougher, it makes you steadier, and steadiness becomes unshakable strength. At the beginning, we questioned the comfort you are reluctant to lose. Now the distinction is clear. Comfort itself is not the enemy. Recovery, rest, and stability have their place. The danger arises when comfort becomes dependency. A mind that requires favorable conditions to remain steady is fragile by design. A mind trained through measured discomfort becomes anchored. The Stoics did not seek hardship for spectacle. They sought freedom from fear of it. Epictetus reminded us that disturbance comes from judgment. Marcus Aurelius trained himself to meet difficulty as material for strength. Seneca practiced voluntary simplicity to weaken fear of loss. Their resilience was not accidental, it was intentional. If you want a mind that cannot be broken, do not eliminate discomfort. Reframe it, use it, train with it. Strength grows where ease is resisted. Subscribe to The Dark Stoic for deeper guidance in practical stoicism.